So you're thinking about making a move to the Seattle area or the Eastside Seattle suburbs, and you want to know what the cost of living currently looks like going into 2024? Well, stick around. That's exactly what we're going to look at in this video. By the way, my name is Corey Quinn with eXp Realty, and if you want to know more about the Eastside Seattle market, your property, or Seattle in general, feel free to reach out to me. In the description below is my number, email, and calendar link, and I'd love to talk to you about your situation one-on-one. Some of the great things about the Eastside Seattle area are the top-notch school districts, the low crime rates, the waterfront access, outdoor activities, plenty of parks, and it's definitely cemented itself as one of the greatest tech hubs. However, the Eastside Seattle area specifically, which is Bellevue, Kirkland, Issaquah, and Redmond, is generally more expensive than Seattle. It's about 200% higher than the national average, so that's exactly what we're going to dig into here, and we're going to look at each category and really break it down. All right, first let's talk about transportation. Eastside Seattle is about 40 to 45% more expensive than the rest of the country. It can be a hit to the wallet, so this is an area you want to think about ways to save money. You do have public transportation that goes to most cities, which is King County Metro, Sound Transit, and then the new light rail that's going in. But right now, as of December 2023, we're sitting at $4.49 a gallon, which is actually a whole dollar less than it was last year. So to do the math on the daily commute, if you're doing 10 miles each way, you're tallying up about 400 miles each month, and you have a car that does about 20 miles per gallon, you're going to spend about $90 per month on gas. Buying a car comes with 6.8% sales tax in Washington. Also, registration fees will start at $43.25, and then it varies from there depending on the vehicle weight, the year, where you live, and taxes. Car insurance has actually been coming down the last 3 years, and Washington state is actually 18% lower than the national average. But to sum it all up, according to a New York Times article that came out recently, owning a car in Seattle costs just over $12,000 a year. Groceries. All right, let's hit the stores. So Washington state actually has a pleasant surprise when it comes to retail sales tax. Generally, all grocery items besides prepared foods and dietary supplements are tax exempt. So you do save about 6% there, but on average nationally, Eastside Seattle is 6 to 8% higher for groceries. Looking at prices today, a gallon of milk is around $4.99 and a dozen eggs is around $4 to $5. A recent study by Smart Asset actually shows on average Seattle residents paying $400 a month on groceries. That could be possible. However, I would say based on my experience, that number is closer to $500 to $600 a month if you're shopping at the local QFC, Safeway, Walmart, or Costco. But if you're more health conscious and you're looking at natural grocery stores, which are really popular around here, we have PCC, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, then that's when I see that 6 to 8% making a lot more sense. But overall, if you just shop smart, buy in bulk, your shopping cart's not going to break the bank. All right, the next thing to talk about is the inevitable utilities bill. Eastside Seattle is actually 27% cheaper than the national average on utilities. CPI data tells us that the area is 12 cents per kilowatt hour versus the national average of 17 cents per kilowatt hour. Seattle Light Company serves downtown Seattle, First Hill, and U District, and Puget Sound Energy serves the rest of King County. A cool stat is that PSE, Puget Sound Energy, is actually the 4th largest producer of wind power in the US, and a third of that power comes from using water in the area. Washington is actually the nation's largest hydroelectric power producer. So with hydroelectric power plants nearby, like Grand Coulee Dam, which is actually one of the largest in the world, but we also have Snoqualmie Falls, and the Snoqualmie Falls hydroelectric power plant helps reduce costs in the area. Internet, you have Xfinity, Ziply Fiber, and Wave, and depending on the internet connection and the speed that you want, you can expect to pay around $82 a month for internet. Most cities around here will package your water, sewer, and storm drain costs together, which is on average around $120 a month. So you have water and sewer, $120 a month, electricity and gas on average $100 a month, internet around $80 a month, not including your Netflix, Disney, and Hulu subscriptions, and then garbage would add on another $20 a month approximately. So I would make sure to add on $320 to $340 on top of your rent or mortgage payment to budget accordingly. Childcare. All right, childcare is a big one because Seattle is actually known to be one of the 5th highest childcare costs among cities like LA, Boston, San Francisco, and New York. For full-time daycare or preschool, you can easily drop $25,000 to $30,000 a year, so that would be around $2,100 to $2,500 a month for full-time childcare. If you want to go out a little bit in some of the surrounding suburbs, you can probably get $1,000 to $1,500 a month, but it really depends on your commute that you're willing to make and the quality of the childcare center. So this is actually twice the national average according to care.com. 67% of parents are spending about 20% of their annual income on childcare right now. So definitely evaluate and compare all of your options. I have 2 boys myself, so I'm happy to talk to you about what we did. We actually found some pretty amazing programs in the area. Next, let's talk about wages and income tax. A big benefit of Washington State is that we actually do not have state income tax. The average is actually 8.9% state income tax, so you're saving that because Washington removed it completely in 1932 and they've stuck with it ever since. So that's a big plus. However, you still will pay around the 9 to 10% of retail sales tax depending on the exact city limits that you're in. Wages and earnings in general, the average in the Seattle area is $111K a year. Minimum wage will be going up again this year, so as of January 2024, it'll be $15.74 an hour for both small and large employers across King County. And there's actually a proposal right now to bump that up to $18.99 an hour, which would be the highest minimum wage in the country. There was an article from Cairo 7 that said to afford a typical 1-bedroom home in King County, assuming 30% spend of annual income, you'd need to make at least $36.33 an hour, working 40 hours a week, so that would be around $76.3K a year. However, in the Eastside area, if you really want to be comfortable, I would move that up to $50 an hour or $100K a year. All right, and that leads us to talk about the fun stuff, housing prices. Housing prices in Eastside Seattle are 200% more than the national average, so this is where you're going to want to spend the most time researching before you move. So first, Eastside Seattle, average monthly cost of a studio would be $2,360, a 1-bedroom, $2,260, 2-bedroom, $2,720, 3-bedroom, $3,650, 4-bedroom, $4,260 a month. If you compare those Eastside prices to the more general Seattle metro area, which includes Bellevue, Seattle, and Tacoma, it reduces the home cost about 25%. For the Seattle metro area, you're looking at studio $1,680, 1-bedroom $1,750, 2-bedroom $2,070, 3-bedroom $2,810, and 4-bedroom $3,280. So let's look at some of the cities in Eastside Seattle and the actual sold price on average over the last 30 days, and this will give you a good grip on which ones you want to look at further. Bellevue, $1.54 million median home price. Kirkland, $1.55 million. Renton, $1.47 million. Sammamish is $2.1 million. Redmond, $1.47 million. Issaquah, $1.1 million. Snoqualmie, $996,000. So yes, home prices are high in Eastside Seattle and the Seattle area, but when you remember salaries are also growing 21% over the past 5 years, it makes sense that Seattle is one of the fastest growing cities in the country, and that's why the home prices are the way they are. So let's actually pull up the cost of living map, which gives us a really good visual of what we're talking about here as far as housing prices. Up north a bit, you can see that Everett comes down to $500,000 and Kent down south is $570,000. So this is going out a little bit further. Property taxes are going to vary by town, but they'll come in roughly around 1% of the home's value for all of King County. If we switch over to other categories, you can see that transportation, groceries, and utilities don't really make that much of a difference. So let's definitely explore together some of the different neighborhoods and compare the commutes and amenities in other cities, because the housing is really what's going to make the biggest dent in your budget out of everything we talked about today. All right, so there you have it, a detailed breakdown of the cost of living in Eastside Seattle. It's definitely not the cheapest, but it's manageable if you consider the higher salaries and the opportunities in the area. If you look at one of the many surrounding suburbs and consider the quality of life that it provides for your family. And if you're curious about how your city or state compares, drop the city you're living in currently in the comments and I'll do a full analysis on the categories we talked about and show you how it differs from where you want to live today. If you've made it this far, I'm super grateful you're here and part of this community. Please hit that like and subscribe button. I would love to help you make a smooth move and find your dream home, and happy house hunting.